Something happened to my mom after she retired. She became superstitious. She read tarot cards, kept a lucky rabbit's foot by the phone, and constantly knocked on wood. Dad just rolled his eyes and teased her about being a crazy old woman. But it got worse when she found a book on magic in the attic. According to the book, you could conjure up a familiar, a creature that could help you with small tasks, give you advice, and protect you. My mom was convinced this was her calling. She bought all the ingredients, even though we argued. Every time she tried to perform a ritual, I tried to stop her, but she was determined to complete the summoning circle. One day, Mom invited her friend over to help. She explained what we had planned, and her friend looked skeptical. "Are you sure this is wise? Familiars are tricky. If you anger them, they could bring misfortune instead of good luck." "I won't be swayed," Mom said firmly. "I want to try." As I watched them set up the ritual, I couldn't help but feel uneasy. This was crazy. My dad warned me not to interfere because he didn't want to upset my mom in her golden years. But I was worried she'd hurt herself. When everything was ready, my mom stood in the middle of the circle. She held an old crystal ball and faced my sister and I. "Do you understand what you're doing?" I asked her. "Yes," she said calmly. "Now please leave me alone. I need to concentrate." My sister and I exchanged worried glances. We weren't supposed to watch, but there was something in Mom's face, in her voice, that made us pause. Perhaps it was the unusual intensity in her eyes, or the way she repeated the words from the book. My sister and I were curious. We hid and eavesdropped outside the door. "Great Old One, I call upon the ancient spirit of power and knowledge. Grant me thy favor. Let a familiar be mine to guide me and assist me in my endeavors. So mote it be." There was a moment of silence, followed by a low rumble, like thunder from far away. "Beware," a voice echoed from within the room, "for I am a spirit of chaos. I thrive on unpredictability and delight in causing harm. If you wish me to be your familiar, you must accept these traits within me." Mom hesitated for a moment. "I understand," she finally replied. "I will accept you with all your strengths and weaknesses. Show yourself to me." Suddenly, a gust of wind blew through the room, extinguishing the candles and sending the papers flying. My mom screamed and instinctively covered her head with her arms. Then slowly, hesitantly, she uncovered her eyes. "Who's there? Show yourself." The darkness seemed to deepen. The wind began to swirl faster, almost creating a vortex in the center of the circle. And then it stopped. Silence hung heavy in the air. "Show yourself," Mom said again, her voice trembling slightly. Then she gasped. In front of her, the orb floated above the table, glowing brightly. And there, looking back at her, was an image. At first, it was just a blur, but as the orb rotated slowly, the details became clearer. It was the face of an owl, intelligent, knowing, and strangely menacing. As the orb continued rotating, the image of the owl was replaced by that of a raven, equally intelligent, equally ominous. Finally, it settled on a creature that sent shivers down my spine, a grotesque humanoid figure with bulging eyes, sharp teeth, gnashing claws, and a twisted grin that seemed to mock her. My mom stumbled backward. I didn't agree to this," she stammered. "Change it," she pleaded. "Change it back." But the creature just laughed, a harsh, grating sound that echoed through the room, and then it vanished. All that was left was the orb, floating silently in the darkness. Mom fell to her knees, overwhelmed with fear. "It's too late!" The voice boomed, echoing her fear. "You have called me forth, and now I am yours to command. I am chaos, I am misfortune, I am your curse." My mom screamed and scrambled back, knocking over the table and sending the orb crashing to the floor, where it shattered into a million pieces. She ran out of the room, leaving my dad and us kids behind. When we went into the room, the only thing we found was the broken orb. The summoning circle had vanished, and no sign of my mom could be found. We searched the entire house, but she was nowhere too. We called her name, but only silence answered us. We called the police, but they couldn't find her either, and as days turned into weeks, we began to lose hope. I blamed myself for not listening to my mom and stopping the ritual. I replayed every moment in my head, searching for clues, wondering if I had done something to cause this. And then the nightmares began. I dreamt of dark figures with glowing eyes and razor-sharp claws that stalked me through shadowy landscapes. They taunted me, whispering about my mother's foolish choices and how her summoning had gone awry. They told me she was trapped somewhere, held captive by the very chaos she had unleashed. I woke up every morning drenched in sweat, my heart pounding in my chest. The nightmares felt so real, I could still hear their laughter echoing in my ears, feel their presence lurking at the edge of my vision. Then one day, my dad came to me with a grave look on his face. "We found something," he said quietly. "In the garden." He led me to a spot where a circle of flowers had been crushed, as if someone or something had been lying in the middle of it. And there, partially buried in the dirt, was the pendant. My mom always wore it. Relief flooded through me. At least she was alive. But where was she? That night the dreams came back, stronger than before. I saw my mom in a dark, dank place, her eyes wide with fear as the same dark figures approached her. She was kneeling beside a new summoning circle, her pendant lying on the ground in front of her. Then she began to chant, "Great Old One, I call upon thee, ancient spirit of power and knowledge. Grant me thy favor, let my mum be returned to me, so mote it be." And then the most terrifying thing happened. One of the dark figures bent down and picked up the pendant. For a moment it seemed as if nothing happened. And then the figure raised its head, its glowing eyes fixed on me. "She will return," it said in a voice that dripped with malice, "but not as you know her. Oh no, she will be something far worse, something that brings nothing but pain and destruction." Then the figure vanished. In the morning, I told my dad about my dream. He listened, his face growing grimmer by the second. "We need to destroy the orb," he said finally. "What orb?" I asked, confused, but before he could explain, the lights flickered and went out. We were plunged into total darkness, and then we heard it, a blood-curdling scream that seemed to tear through the fabric of reality itself. It echoed through the house, bouncing off the walls, refusing to be contained. And then silence. Heavy, thick silence. It pressed against our ears, muffling the sound of our own breathing. It was as if the house was holding its breath. We stood there frozen, listening, hoping against hope that it was just a figment of our imagination. But then, the silence shattered. A crash, something heavy hitting the floor. Footsteps, slow and deliberate, creaking the floorboards as it moved closer. The bedroom door rattled violently as if something was trying to break in. And then, just as abruptly as it started, it stopped. But my dad wasn't taking any chances. He grabbed a baseball bat and crept out of the house. I stayed behind, paralyzed with fear. Suddenly, a dark figure materialized in the doorway. Its eyes glowed ominously in the darkness. "You shouldn't be here," it rasped, its voice like nails scraping down a chalkboard. Before I could scream, it lunged towards me. I backed away, tripping over my own feet. The figure advanced, its claws extended, ready to strike. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing for the worst. But the attack never came. Instead, I heard a loud thud followed by a guttural roar of anger. I peeked through one eye. My dad stood over the creature, the baseball bat raised high. "Get away from her!" he shouted, swinging the bat. The figure shrieked and disappeared. When the coast was clear, I crawled out of the house. My dad rushed to me, his face etched with worry. "Are you okay? Did it hurt you?" I shook my head, tears streaming down my face, and then we both looked back at the house. The front door was wide open. Inside, the orb lay shattered, its glow fading fast. The summoning circle was gone, but in its place was a single word scrawled on the floor in what looked like blood. "Soon." We never saw my mom again. The police never found her remains. And that house, well, it's abandoned now. Locals say it's haunted by whatever evil my mom unleashed that day. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this story, be sure to let me know. Until next time, stay safe.